I am the Associate Executive Director at the National Association of State Directors for Career Technical Education Consortium, or NASDCTEc. I'm excited. We have a good attendance on a really important topic. I'm just going to run through a couple of logistical details about today's webinar, do a bit of framing, and then turn it over to our participants, our panelists. As I mentioned, we will be talking about career technical education and advanced placement, and just today we have released a new paper in partnership with College Board, which we think is a really critical topic and really provides additional evidence and support around the importance of having college-ready and career-ready expectations and where those experiences can intersect for students. It really demonstrates that can and should be rigorous, and one way to inject that rigor is through the use of alignment of AP courses and exams, and we'll be hearing from both at this level as well as at the school level some evidence where CTE students are being very successful in those AP courses and vice versa. We're going to begin. But before I introduce the panelists, just a couple of things I want to let you all know. As we have let you know, we will be recording this webinar and be making it available on our website. The paper itself is also currently available on our website, and the link will be out in a moment. The way today is going to work is we're going to be hearing from a couple panelists for the first half of the webinar, and then saving the second half for Q&A. If you have questions, please chat them to me, Kate Blosburn, and I will be moderating those at the second half of the webinar. With that, I'd like to thank our webinar host, Cisco, for providing the platform and technical assistance. If you have any issues with your ability to hear or see, please contact Krista Hughes, who has joined the webinar to be our technical assistant, and thank you for helping us this webinar and their support throughout most of our webinars. In conjunction with this webinar, we are releasing a paper titled The Same Career and Technical Education and Advanced Placement that is now on our website within the URL for both the page as well as the document is there. And want to see from College Board will be giving us a little bit of a deep dive into that report on some of the background on it and what the information that is, but just to show you a preview of that presentation. We have some excellent speakers today that will take us through the convergence of AP and CT from a couple of different perspectives. Beginning will be Wanda Munthy, who is a Senior Director for Career Readiness and CT at the College Board. We'll then be hearing from Barbara Dietrich and Betty Klahoff from Washington State, who will share the state perspective on how one state is really integrating AP and CTE and what that theory of action looks like and what some of the early results of that work has been. And then we'll be ending hearing from Tom Evans, who is a principal at Eastern Technical High School in Baltimore County, Maryland, to tell the school level story of how one Blue Ribbon School is really integrating AP and CT across their majors to quite a bit of success. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Wanda Munthy.
The College Board's mission is to connect all students to opportunities to pursue post-secondary education, and all students need to be also prepared to be successful in a career. The College Board is committed to ensuring that students are prepared to reach their personal goals by being prepared to have options after high school. Traditionally, the College Board has been focusing on just the four-year college. With our president, David Coleman, key ideas and a commitment to career and technical education. Now, students will go directly into further education, but they must be prepared to have that option. In order to be prepared, students need access to rigorous courses that will provide them with strong academic, technical, and employability skills. Leaving school having achieved these, including our state standards or the Common Core state standards, that's a big step towards success after high school. Carl Perkins Act talks about the academic, vocational, or career and technical skills of students. A quick return to what you all may have seen. The Perkins Act does reinforce that need for strong academic skills as well as those technical skills that can be acquired through a coherent sequence of courses. As we began the work, the College Board and NASDCTEc, as we began that work of identifying the relevance, and that's a key word to this whole process, of AP courses to CTE, we focused on the National Career Clusters framework to organize our work. We considered how the AP courses could support programs of study leading to post-secondary 2- and 4-year degrees or an industry-recognized certificate. We know places that CTE is an elective and can be in competition with other courses, such as AP courses offered at the high school, if feed into a CTE center, or just in terms of scheduling. Students have to meet their state and district requirements for graduation. So the work we did focused on the relevance. And you'll hear me say that word a lot because we do not want to imply that we look deep into the content of either AP courses or the career clusters content, but that we kept it as a guidance director may use to guide students in determining a schedule. But into this discussion also is the relevance of CLEP assessments or the college level examination program that the College Board also has. So we work together for all students, and providing access to AP and CLEP, students can earn college credit. Courses provide students with college-level courses while they're still in high school. While telling out how teachers teach the content, there are course frameworks for each course, and there are 34 AP courses. In order to be listed as an AP course, each teacher's syllabus, an individual teacher's syllabus, so if you have 3 teachers teaching the same subject, they all must submit the syllabus for approval by college faculty. The exam is based on a freshman level end of course exam. During spring and summer of 2012, a person from NASDCTEc and I had to look at the courses in AP and also the career clusters. We identified AP courses that may be relevant to a career cluster and occupation. In October, we took this work to a larger group of CTE state directors and CTE experts at the state directors meeting. Once we had input from that group, we made some revisions and then took the draft publication at that point and shared it with other groups such as the CTEC's of practice, which included 11 states, the state directors in the Southeast, and also with educators across the country at the regional forums of the College Board. At the meeting, the group determined that English language and composition and statistics were relevant to all of the career clusters. If you look at the document, you will find that most also include world languages. We did not specify which language in most of the areas because it may differ from community to community across the country. I also want to reemphasize that we looked at the relevance and we'll find several courses listed for each cluster area. The listed are options that directly relate to that cluster area, not intended to apply to all of the occupations in that cluster. So an analogy would be as you major in something in college, there are different courses that will apply to a specific major that may not apply to the whole department or program area. Here's an example for agriculture. These are pathways that are included in the Agriculture, Food, and Natural Resources cluster. These are the AP courses that students could choose from, in addition to the language and composition and statistics. Depending on their pathway and career and post-secondary goals, they could choose one of these courses or maybe more. It also would depend on the access to the course in the school, what's offered, or there are online courses for almost all of the AP courses. Here's an example from Business Management and Administration. You can see the pathways that are listed there. And relevant AP courses. You can see tie directly between these courses and the business area. The bottom line is that AP courses are relevant for CTE students and that can match their post-secondary and career goals. AP and CTE should not be separate tracks, accessible to all students. And you can see the connection between the two programs show that it can really support students in preparing for post-secondary. AP courses have qualifying exam scores that earn college credit and or advanced placement at most post-secondary institutions. So it's really important that when a student is being advised that they look also at what the institution are interested in, how they will handle AP, because we don't know that every post-secondary institution will grant credit. I also have a competitive advantage in college admissions process because, as we know, most guidance counselors have to check a little box on their recommendation for students that they have taken most rigorous courses available to them. And to succeed on AP exams, the research has showed that there is a range of positive post-secondary outcomes such as GPA, 4- and 5-year graduation rates, and persistence in STEM majors. Now, what is CLEP? CLEP is new to the conversation, so we did not include that in our analysis. But these are similar to technical assessments that may be taken for college credit or placement. They are not attached to a specific course taught in the high school, so students take them independent of any course. In addition, they serve a diverse group of students, and in fact, a third of those are actually taken by military service members as coming out and going on to post-secondary. I think that it's a real hidden opportunity for students for CLEP. And there are 33 exams, and they include areas such as history and the social sciences. Business is the key one for CE because there are no AP courses or exams in the business area, but this does provide an opportunity for students who are in those CTE programs in business to actually have a test that can gain them college credit. Common literature, science and mathematics, as well as world languages. These are based on experience or content that has been learned. I think another important thing about CLEP that's an opportunity is that students take CLEP when they've learned the content within a CTE course and not necessarily tie it directly to their English course or their American government course. But this gives all students an opportunity to access college-level exam for which they can gain credit in post-secondary. Information, you can contact me, as Kate's going to show at the end, or Kim Green here at NASDCTEc.
Just want to underscore about sort of the process for putting this paper together and identifying the relevant AP courses across the 16 clusters. What was interesting is, the more we showed it to different groups of CTE leaders and asked for feedback, asked for review, what we saw was much more inclusive. We saw the addition of a lot more AP courses than we had really started with in the clusters, because so many leaders, be there at the state level, at the district, or the school level, saying, my students are taking these. This absolutely has relevance. So the list kept going because it was as inclusive, and demonstrating that there are maybe outside the box of ways that these do connect to students in those pathways, and it can really enrich their experiences and their CTE programs of study, and really support their earning college credit while they're still in high school.
Another thing that we did last weekend was that we presented at the AP National Conference, both Barbara's session and the session that the College Board hosted had over 75 participants from AP. So those are AP teachers or guidance counselors.
That's great. Thank you, Wanda. We're now going to shift from sort of the national level, right, and giving some insight into the report. Again, we'll see a question I've got. We'll definitely share the link to the report. It's on our earlier slide. It'll be on a later slide as we move forward. But now we're going to sort of move from the national level down to the state level and hear about what Washington State is doing. And we're lucky to have both the CT director from Washington, Betty Kleiner, as well as the AP supervisor, Barbara Dietrich, which I think really demonstrates when we reached out and asked one person in Washington to respond, they both said, we'll do this together, which I think models the type of collaboration and integration that we hope this paper and this webinar sparks. So with that, I am going to turn it over to, I believe, Barbara is going to start.
This is Barbara. I'm sitting here with Betty in Washington State. I apologize, my voice is a little rough. That's due to allergies, but we'll get through this. In our state, we see advanced placement and CTE connected. We'll look at the 34 AP courses and the 16 career clusters. And we determined that they are complementary rather than competitive or separate in a school curriculum. And we looked at where we could start some programs that are CTE programs in AP in our state. When we did that, we saw many curriculum connections. And so these are the areas that we have looked at. In our state, there are a number of folks who teach CTE computer programming, and we see a direct connection with AP Computer Science A, and we want more information out an important bill that was passed in our state this year about that later on in the presentation. CTE, at first we looked at commercial art, advertising, illustration, commercial photography as connecting to studio art, drawing, 2D and 3D. But as we moved through our program, we began to see many other connections with studio art. And indeed, that's a very popular offering in our state, connections to fake, connections to food, connections to the kinds of things that you see in computer animation, so a variety of areas there. Our CTE natural resources, we saw a connection to environmental science. In fact, one of the most highly decorated environmental science teachers in the entire nation, Mike Tan, is here from Washington State and is recognized by the White House for his efforts. CTE family systems we see aligned with AP psychology, CTE economics with both macro econ and micro econ, and finally business and marketing aligned with statistics. So here's our history of how we've made connections in Washington State. OPI, that's the State Office of Education, worked with the Washington ACTE organization, and they helped us in this effort. They were our partner. In 2007, we made a presentation to the CTE directors, that's their organization, WAVA, and the administrators expressed a huge amount of interest. In 2008, Senate Substitute Bill 6377 was passed by Washington legislature. This is a CTE bill, and right into it, our legislature used the words advanced placement as they talked about rigor that they would like to see us have in CTE. So, starting in 2008, Betty and I and others gave administrative and teacher workshops out the state with our partner, Washington ACTE. In 2009, Mary Nagel and I and Betty did a survey that showed that there was a tremendous potential for growth in CTE. The survey was among CTE directors throughout the state. Since this time, Betty and Mary and I have been involved in pilot programs. We think we have a unique structure. It's a mentor-mentee model. What we do is we have a mentor teacher from Washington who is a successful AP teacher, who is a CTE teacher, and that person works with aspiring CTE teachers who would like to work in advanced placement. But we also bring in professional development from College Board trainers. The pilots that we've conducted over the years have included AP Environmental Science. There are a number of agriculture teachers interested in that and who are teaching that now. AP Studio Art 2D and 3D have been our most popular programs. We've offered them 3 times, and we have many teachers throughout the state that are doing this now. In fact, in top 4 programs in Studio Art 2D, 2 of them are by AP Commercial Art teachers, commercial photography teachers. AP Psychology was another pilot. Computer Science A, and we will have done that once and we'll offer it again. And AP Macro and Microeconomics, we have had so much interest in this that we did this pilot 2 years in a row. For our CTE teachers, one of the biggest questions for them is how can they certify that a course is an AP course? And so one of the things that we've been very clear in talking to them about over time is the requirement, since this is a registered trademark of the College Board. First of all, their administrator in the school needs to return a subject-specific AP course audit form here to the College Board, letting them know what AP courses are being offered. To submit, as was said earlier by Wanda, a course syllabus of each teacher of this AP course. That needs to have approval from the college level. But in Washington State, there are also requirements to make a course a CTE course. The course needs to meet our state law, including Common Core alignment. We're a Common Core state, and we're very interested in being sure that we meet 21st century leadership standards. So each of these courses needs a program-specific advisory committee. Now, I, as a former AP U.S. history teacher, did not have to meet these requirements because my course was basic ed. CTE has got very special things that they need to do so that the student is ready for a 21st century leadership standard. One of those is also that there would be a career and technical student organization or equivalent that the students in this course could participate in. In addition to the syllabus to the College Board, we require submission of a framework to OSPI, which are individually approved by our program supervisors here. And these must be submitted every 4 years and looked at by the state. Based learning is a very important connection that needs to be made for a course to be a CTE course. CTE teachers are certified 2 different ways. One of them is area-specific college concentration or a college major, just like I would have done as a history teacher, but also from industry hours. And today we're talking about 6,000 hours. Those courses I told you about in AP Studio Art, those real large courses in Spokane, Washington, both of those folks are along with the other teacher that I talked about before, have a lot of industry hours. Our legislature passed Substitute House Bill 1472, and this bill was enacted to improve and expand access to computer science education. Washington is the home of Microsoft and the home of Nintendo and a lot of other computer-based businesses, and this is something that our business community would like to see, and yet at the same time, AP Computer Science has not been a real large program here. CTE is the direction to go because that's where you see people teaching computer science and can move to that AP level. So, a Computer Science A will now be credited in our state as a science or math course by the individual school boards in each district where it is offered. And that's what will show up on the transcript. This bill encourages the support from industry mentors as co-instructors with the AP Computer Science teacher at the school level. And this would include using synchronous video. Priority is given to schools in rural areas with substantial enrollment of low-income students. Now, Washington is a real local control state, so we have 295 school districts, and half of those are rural and some of those very remote, that they have the opportunity to use video and online mentors would mean a lot to those districts. Here are the resources that we share with our CTE teachers. First, we strongly recommend that they use AP Central, where you can see this course descriptions, where you can see sample syllabi, and many other resources for teachers. Here at State, we have our own advanced placement resources for students, parents, and educators, and they include a brochure which can be downloaded and shared with parents, explain how AP programs work. Finally, we encourage those teachers to look at AP Potential. Potential, for those of you that are familiar with this, is connected with the PSAT test. Now, in State, we're a big SAT, PSAT test state, and so many, many students take that test. And if students do that in your school, a teacher and a school can have access to an AP Potential report. It will show students would be able to do well in certain AP courses. And as a beginning CTE AP teacher, this is a resource you could use to recruit students for your course. Students, of course, will receive My College Quick Start and other things from taking the PSAT test, which will help them get ready should they decide to go on to higher education. I think that we're going to hear from Tom Evans.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Tom Evans. I'm the principal of Eastern Technical High School in the Baltimore County Public Schools in Maryland. Eastern Tech is what we call a wall-to-wall CTE magnet school, which means that every student in our building is enrolled in at least a 4-credit CTE program. To give you some perspective on our school, and Kate already mentioned this, we are both a Maryland Blue Ribbon School of Excellence and National Blue Ribbon School. What's significant on that is that we're the only high school in Maryland ever to be named a state Blue Ribbon school on 2 occasions. In addition to our Blue Ribbons, you can see from this slide that we have also been consistently named by Washington Post, U.S. News and World Report, and Magazine as being among America's best high schools. I mentioned that all our students are involved in at least a 4-credit CTE program, a study. Here's a list of our 10 programs. We refer to them as career majors. You'll note that some of them are throwbacks to the days when we were named Eastern Vocational Technical School, EV, like automotive, construction, culinary, business. However, in each of those cases, we upgraded the quality of the program over the years to ensure that our students are gaining the skills needed for the modern world while incorporating technology and higher order reading, writing, math, and thinking skills throughout. Our mission statement is really focused on the idea that if there is a local, state, or national assessment, whether it's required or just important for our students to take, we want our students prepared to be successful on that. And then at the next slide, you can see that we commit to collaborating with our parents and our community, engaging our students with high-quality, important work, ensuring that our students are supported in their efforts as they prepare for success in college and in the workplace. And we know that we're doing so when we give them opportunities to learn and practice skills such as problem solving, collaboration, teamwork, and perseverance. This was some of the data from our most recent graduating class. You can see that 95% of this year's graduates are going directly into college. We're very, very proud of that. And it's fairly split between the local 2-year community college program and 4-year schools. I know that many of the students that we send to 2-year programs then transfer into 4-year schools, while others see the 2-year program as an excellent extension of their high school CTE program and take that AA degree into their chosen career field. Here's down of the class of 2013 by the career majors. Some of our career major programs are more highly populated than others. The difference in the student program enrollment is not a factor of quality. Our CTE programs are of high quality, but really one of student interest. And a student in every program has access to advanced placement courses. In fact, I have to say it's been the inclusion of advanced placement courses in our program that's taken us to the academic heights that we now enjoy. Over their high school career, every student at Eastern Tech has the opportunity to earn at least 28 high school credits, at most 6 credits tied to their career major. We offer 18 advanced placement courses and tests, and we offer those yearly in every core subject plus fine arts. We have students who take at least one AP course during their time with us. In fact, that's one of our goals, that we want every student who goes through here to take at least one AP course during their 4 years. We want to view advanced placement as an opportunity to learn and to practice the skills associated with the rigorous content that help them transition more smoothly into college and the workplace. I mentioned that all of our students have equal access to AP. Here are most recent data that show the racial breakdown of our school and the racial breakdown of students taking AP. It's one of the aspects of our program of which we are most proud. Just the first 3 columns show the racial makeup of our school, and the next 3 show the numbers and percentages of each group who took AP exams last year, 2013. In each case, the AP enrollment closely matches with the overall population. And just as a word about our white population, because it's our largest population, but it's also extremely diverse. That we have a large number of white students from Eastern Europe and the Middle East, many of whom do not speak English as their first language. This shows the breakdown of the AP enrollment by career majors. And if you look closely, you'll see that this is one of our current challenges. You may say that we expect every student who goes through Eastern Tech to take at least one AP course, but we haven't quite met that challenge with this last senior class. The percentages are high, the percentages are very good, but not yet showing the 100% that we'd like to see in each of these. So why AP? Why did CTE students take AP courses and AP exams? Well, we encourage our students to do so to enhance their CTE and their academic program. Now, we believe that exposure to rigorous AP courses, whether they're in English, social studies, math, science, world language, or fine arts, will better prepare them for the demands of college and the demands of the world of work. Enhancing their critical reading skills, reading comprehension, vocabulary, writing, and especially time management is critical to success in college and critical to success in their chosen career. Our CTE teachers encourage students to take AP. Our students claim that the work in AP courses has helped them significantly with the technical reading and writing that's required in their CTE program. And then we have a capstone senior project requirement in place that requires students to apply their reading and writing skills to topic of interest in their CTE program and then present that project to their classmates. And their experiences in AP contribute significantly to success with that capstone. If you look at the last slide, you'll see that it shows the growth of our AP program over the last 10 years. You see that our participation rate has consistently improved. Our number of tests taken has risen, and the percentage of students scoring a 3, 4, or 5 has been consistently over 80%. And we're very pleased that as more and more students take AP, that we're able to maintain that and at times even improve the pass rate. Stop there and allow us some time for questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. This is Kate Blasburn again. So we're going to move to questions in a second, and I'm going to use my right as a moderator to ask the first question or two, and as a couple more spool, and thank you for those that have already sent them. But, you know, what strikes me, and so my first question is actually going to be for Barbara and Betty about in Washington, is, you know, what strikes me about what they've done and their approach is that it really is a true integration at the policy and practice level, where it's not just about dropping in AP courses, but really, you know, paying the attention to the issue of you know, students earning credit, of the credentialing, of the professional development. So my question around that, which I would ask Wanda and might have some thoughts on too, and maybe Tom, you do as well, is what are those enabling policies or practices that states, districts, or schools can focus on to encourage more integration across CTE and AP? So I'm going to start maybe Barbara or Betty from Washington, and then if other presenters want to chime in.
Actually, I'm going to have Mary Nagel, who is our Health and Family and Consumer Science Program Supervisor and also does AP through our CTE area, is here. She dropped in. So I'm going to have her share her answer to that.
Well, a couple things I've seen, and Barb might help me out with this too, but she's losing her voice, are that we have an equivalency crediting policy in our state that allows us to look at CTE alignment with academic courses. I think that was one of the first policy pieces that helped us to align AP. The second thing, I think, is looking at the requirement for the AP College Board that any instructor can meet the College Board requirement through doing the approval of syllabus. So in some ways, the policy doesn't need to necessarily be in your state, but the teacher needs to be trained and willing to meet the criteria that is required by the College Board and aligning their course syllabus with what the Board needs, but then also looking at how that aligns with what they're currently teaching.
We did in the beginning, we did a lot of work on taking our current CTE course standards, and then we worked with Barb and others in the AP arena and walked those and said, yes, this could be a fit. We could do this in this subject, in this area. Like we have a family systems course in CTE, Family Consumer Sciences, and it was a natural fit for AP psychology. So we limited to what we thought our courses and which AP courses were natural fits. We do more we want to develop. Like we're thinking animal science, probably we could develop very closely with, you know, AP biology, or we have like statistics. We ended up developing a CTE course in statistics.
And then that also doing professional development within our state to start to frame people's mind and thought processes around those connections was also very integral in getting the concept across our state. And then we found that kind of a grassroots movement came from the districts as to policymakers about helping to make that connection.
That's great. I'm going to ask sort of throw out the converse question, right, is what are the barriers that are in place? And again, I'm sort of opening this up to any of the participants you see for doing this work, for getting the integration between AP and CTE. There are policy barriers, whether there are barriers, you know, around just changing hearts and minds. So I'm going to open that up.
Well, this is Wanda, and I think that the biggest barrier has been the perception that CE students cannot take AP courses, and we have a lot of evidence out there, and you heard some today, That's not true. I think that has been one of the biggest barriers. I think another, I think messaging that has happened. I think the programs of study that you're all developing out there, if those include AP, it will send a really clear message that this is, that students in CTE should access AP. I'd also like to reiterate that you don't have to take an AP course to take the AP exam. So I think some of that encouragement would help, even if a course is not in the school, but sometimes credit and the content is being taught in the CTE course, so students would be prepared for an AP exam. Changing hearts and minds first.
Mm-hmm. We did a lot of marketing. We went to a lot of our specific conferences. We did a lot of flyers showing the crosswalk and connection, and then started doing some workshops on, intense things and workshops. So it was a real marketing perception.
This is, I think, that one of the barriers is people thought CTE teachers couldn't teach AP, that they qualified, and that's where I think that our frameworks really helped to facilitate that with administrators, where we demonstrate these are standards in CTE that are meeting, taking a look at the syllabus and saying, you can see on the AP syllabus, these are the things that we will be teaching, and it's been approved. So getting that College Board stamp helped with that barrier for those teachers, and that's where I think that alignment was really important to show. When you talked about barriers that CTE students wouldn't take AP classes, that's where the PSAT, we really have marketed using the PSAT potential for students and encouraged our teachers to get the results, send invitations to those students saying, I'd like you to participate in this class based on the potential that you showed in your PSAT. We also have encouraged people to use that with parents, send the invitation home to the parents saying, based on your student's PSAT, they showed some potential. This is a course we think that would be good for them to take. So helping to address that concern about rigor of the instructors, training, rigor of the course, and the student's ability to take that course.
Some question came up when we were talking at the AP conference last week in Las Vegas. And someone asked me, how do we ever get CTE students to get so highly engaged with AP? And I told them when our program first blew up here about 10 years ago, I was not principal of Eastern Tech at the time, so I'm not sure all the struggles that we initially went through. But today's world, success has bred success. So our kids have seen the wonderful opportunities that participation in AP has created for other students. In fact, we bring our graduates back annually to our students and to share with them what AP has done in their particular area of interest. And it's been very beneficial.
Really interesting. It's a great point. So a number of questions have now come rolling in, so I'm going to turn it over. Just so you know, as you see, are these 3 questions that are on your screen right now. I realize I should have sort of explained why they're up there, because I didn't ask them of the participants, or of the panelists, I should say. But really they're meant to be, as you all, as a participant, sort of walk away from this webinar, some things that, hard questions to ask yourself and think through and reflect on the webinar to have. That's why they're sort of up in the background. So I'm now going to turn to some of the questions you all have submitted. We have a couple questions that I would say are for Wanda around whether there's plans or an opportunity to develop additional AP courses, such as an AP accounting or business, beyond, sort of where their plan is, additional information on the computer science principles course, sort of what additional plans might you have to fill additional gaps?
The computer science principal class course is going to be implemented right away next year or this year. I think that for the future, it takes about 6 years, 5 or 6 years to develop an AP course. So that's the reason we didn't want to wait before we did something on this connection between CTE and AP. The White House has actually contacted us about developing an AP engineering course. And so right now, we're in the exploratory stage of that to see if that is something that makes sense for the College Board to design. And then we've had a lot of questions about accounting, AP accounting. I think for many years, a lot of people thought there was an AP accounting exam, but and that is why I've started emphasizing the CLEP as well, because we don't have that right now. Another area that we've been asked about was AP agricultural science, or agri-science or agribusiness. Those two are on the list to look at. So we have put together a list of considerations. So that's where we stand right now on additional AP.
And Kate, if I could respond to that from the local level, the ones that we'd really like to see here at our school would be like an AP and ME and physiology course that would fit really wonderful with our allied health program, and we have a strong STEM-centered focus at the school. So anatomy and physiology, AP engineering would be a wonderful extension of our program, and some course in business, AP accounting, something like that, or general AP CTE course. I'm not sure exactly what that would look like and would probably be very difficult to create, but a general AP CTE course of some sort would be helpful.
We talked with Gene Bottoms at SREB about some of those because that's been a passion of his as well. Anatomy and physiology is another one that we hear a lot too because of the health occupations and demand in that area. That would make a lot of sense.
Okay. This is Mary. I just wanted to make a comment that one of our mentors for our 3D art is a pre-engineering instructor, and he's integrated the 3D art pieces into his engineering class, and so that may be someone that you would want to contact and talk to about how he's integrated that too, because it's been really neat to see the things that he's doing and have mentor our other engineering teachers.
Thanks. So bundled two questions together because I think they're both they're very related around the implementation of all of this. So there's one question about sort of the scheduling and what happens if there's one AP course and at the same time as a CT course, or which is certainly exacerbated if for those students that are going to a tech center, not there. So sort of how, maybe from Washington, their perspective at the statewide level, how this has been mitigated, the scheduling, and a number related, but I'm going to bundle them together anyway, is around sort of the transcription of credit, how the courses are transcripted, if they're just straight as AP courses, if they're the CT, the example, the Family Consumer Science course, is it both? And that's a question I think that could be addressed by Barbara or Tom. First one, the scheduling issue, which I know is always a challenge.
Well, in Washington State, the courses that we talked about are CTE and AP at the same time. Also, I mentioned that at our skills centers, which offer some AP courses, there are times when they use differentiated instruction. And so in AP Computer Science at a skills center, for example, they may have half the class working at the AP level and the other half of the class more at a pre-AP level, but in the same room at the same time. And this often happens with CTE courses. Teachers teaching CTE often know how to differentiate instruction for students who are at different levels.
And at the local level here, I mean, I wouldn't want to say that it's not a problem because scheduling is also always interesting at the high school, but our kids are in the Shine facility. They're in a comprehensive high school here, so they're with us all day. It's just a choice of, for example, taking AP English versus regular English, or AP Calculus versus regular Calculus. So it's not the same sort of challenge.
Thanks. The next question is sort of a specific one. I think it's actually, well, I would say it would be a simple yes/no, but we know that that's rarely possible in these questions. But this is a question about somebody from California who has an engineering design sequence. And he's looking to build a sequence where there's an AP Computer Science for junior students and then an engineering design, which is sort of a state class for senior students as the capstone. And the notion of is AP, AP often are treated as a capstone course for students, but does it need to be? What are some other models for how AP might build into the sequence along the way?
The schools that I know have required, there's one school in Oregon that required all students in the junior year to take AP English Comp. That was language and comp. That was the English class for 11th graders. I think when you, AP courses tend to be taught mostly in the 11th and 12th grade. Can be substituted in a lot of places. So instead of taking that AP calculus, if they have to have a math course, and hopefully they would have the option of taking the calculus as their math course. I think that so AP can be fit into, but that's part of the program of design. The program of study design needs to do that up front so that it's very transparent. Those options are presented to students as they're planning. I think that most of you do that, but this will be kind of a new switch. They aren't going to take 2 English classes at the same time, but this option is over here with English language and comp.
In our program, we offer AP Computer Science as a sort of an elective course for students that are in an IT career major, and it's taken by a number of students that are in engineering, but it's a general elective that's open to everyone.
Mm-hmm. A specific question for you around some of the impact of the AP courses. And so you showed, your success of the graduates, but there was a question about, have you seen increases in the graduation rates in other test scores on the HSAs within Maryland? It has happened sort of in alignment with the move towards AP for all.
Absolutely. We graduate basically 100% of the students that enter 9th grade 4 years later. We have hardly anyone that actually drops out. We have some students who make a decision to go back to their home school. I mentioned we're a magnet school. Some may go back to their home school for whatever reason, missing their friends, being homesick, that sort of thing. But we graduate 100% of our incoming freshman class every 4 years. And over the years that we've had AP here, and Maryland has had state tests that we call the high school assessments in English, algebra, biology, and government. We have, and we're one of the only schools in the state that's claimed this, we've had almost 100% pass rate on those tests since they've been in place for graduating class. That we've never had a student who's had to go into a remedial kind of program in order to pass those state-mandated tests for graduation. And I think he's been a big contributor to that.
Great. So I think this is going to be the last question, and I apologize that there were a lot of questions started coming in, but I think we really only have time for one more. And so there's a couple questions that touch on sort of the dual or concurrent enrollment around both from a two-and-break perspective about really, using and leveraging tech models, courses that are, concurrently taught, whether those fit into this AP model or something else. So sort of, I'm going to put it as a very broad statement and let you fill in some blanks around sort of how it's either part of your strategy or how the dual enrollment, concurrent enrollment, and AP integrate and intersect.
I want to just start because the other two are going to be able to talk about this much more from a practical level, but the College Board, I think in a lot of schools, dual enrollment, concurrent enrollment is seen in competition with AP. There are different opportunities for different students, and the concurrent enrollment or the dual enrollment offered through CTE is a real benefit for students who are going to go to a school that has that agreement with the high school. It's when students are going to go beyond where those agreements are currently in place, or the transferability of that credit. That's where I think AP and the CLEP can become much, will benefit to students.
This is Barbara. I would add to that. One of our largest AP CTE programs that we have in Spokane, for example, they have articulated agreement for tech prep. But there are students that benefits the students that go to that particular college. But there are a lot of students at that school that want to go to WSU down the road, and so they will take the AP exam and use those credits for WSU. And so within that same classroom, students have options.
In Eastern Tech, all of our students are CTE students, so there's no real, it's not actually dual enrollment. You can't look at it that way. There's no competition between the two programs. Every student in AP is a CTE student to begin with.
Well, we have 1 minute left, so I'm going to pull back. Thank you so much to all of our participants, our panelists and participants for joining. Thank you again to Cisco. I want to once again sort of put the key issues or draw attention to them on the board, and particularly the last bullet around what other resources, tools, materials could NASDCTEc provide to support efforts in your communities as we, this paper sort of step one as we definitely think about that. Similarly, we're obviously going to continue working closely with College Board to think through what implications are. We'll all these questions and certainly consider them in our future efforts. I also want to make sure you have all the contact information. Here is the link to the landing page that the paper is on and the actual downloadable link. As we said, this webinar will be made available online within 24 hours. Along with the paper, which is already live, along with the PDF of this presentation, which a few of you asked about. I'm going to ask you all to do us a favor and please take the post-event survey, which will take you only about 2 minutes of your time. Great feedback for us to make sure that we're meeting the community's needs. And again, we'll be in touch in the next, look for a blog post where we'll have all the materials sent in one package together. And thank you so much.